Connected. Yep, we are officially live now. So,
Yes. Hello.
hello everybody. So, yes. So, as you can see on the screen, it's Luca, the famous Luca here with us. Yeah, he's on
Oh,
the outskirts. Yeah, I think. Are you? Where are you? Are you countryside or somewhere in the
yeah,
UK?
yeah. I'm on my way to work, man. I'm on my way to work. I got to work tonight,
Yeah,
so I'm walking to work.
yeah, yeah. And I hope the weather's pleasant out there.
Last week we had a heat wave. We had 28 degrees for UK, but today's been about 14, 15 degrees, man, in July. So it's not great.
Yeah. I mean, crazily enough, I've got my air conditioner on. That's 29 degrees.
Oh, really?
So what's heat wave there is the temperature of my air conditioner, which is crazy. That's how. Yeah. So
That's
so
okay,
what
man.
we have. Yeah. So we've come in this live stream to discuss about Euro 2024. What were your
Yeah.
hopes about this edition of Euros? I mean, of course, everybody has their teams, but coming into this, what was your expectations about an individual or a team? Just randomly.
For what team? For what team?
Yeah,
What for any team?
yeah,
What for any team?
yeah. Any team. Just like what was your expectations
Um,
about this edition of the Euros?
the expectations was what I wanted to see was I was expecting like teams like look Italy for me were very very poor every single game throughout the tournament. Um, I just feel like I expect them to get maybe I would have been happy with them getting quarterfinals. Coming up against maybe someone like in England, and we know the history in a tournament. England don't have the greatest record against Italy. I know England beat them in the qualifiers quite recently, home and away, but I expected teams like Italy to go far again. Of course, people talk about and judge their squad is not great. You don't have a
Yeah,
Bonucci anymore. You don't have a Chiellini or a Verratti or an Insigne or Immobile. You don't have any of those players anymore. They're old, retired, and some of them are still about for their clubs and playing in other Saudi and MLS. But I feel like with Spalletti, look, what went wrong? I'll start off with Italy. What went wrong with them was I just don't get his tactics. I really, really
yeah,
don't get his tactics. Um, and I feel with Spalletti, I felt like he called up the wrong players. He should have called maybe someone like a Verratti or Locatelli, but people like them who are playing in Saudi, they're not going to get called up that much. But what I don't get is, of course, obviously I'm born in England, but half Italian, but Portugal have Cristiano Ronaldo still
yeah,
playing, Pepe, the defender, still playing. So you get the odd
yeah,
few players who are still playing. Jesus Navas barely makes an appearance for Spain, but he's still playing at 39 years old. So the trouble is, you get the odd experienced players out there. Not obviously, there's not many players out there these days, but you still got Messi playing for the Copa America. You've got Luis Suarez. You've got James Rodriguez. You've got David Ospina, Weri Mina. You've got about 5 to 8 players who are still playing out there these days. And there's not many old players left. Most of them have retired for the last 2 years. But I just feel with Italy, I was very, very surprised. Yes, Switzerland are a very, very, very good team. Don't get me wrong. They're well organised now. They've got experience in their team. They've got Jan
yeah,
Zuma, of course, he's a great goalkeeper for Inter Milan. Has won titles with Inter. Um, of course, Akanji has won everything at Manchester City. He's a great defender. Great defender he
yeah,
was at Borussia Dortmund. Granit Xhaka is now involved into a very good player. Mikel Arteta has turned Xhaka into a great player, then had his confidence. Going into Bayern Leverkusen, has won 2 trophies at Bayern Leverkusen. They've got experience in there. They've got Shaqiri in there. They've got Rodriguez in there. They've got Vargas. They've got experienced players where they're a well-organised team and they always seem to be dark horses. Like, everyone expected, okay, Switzerland to beat Italy, but I personally thought Italy were going to beat Switzerland. because when it comes to the knockouts, the Italians
Yeah.
usually turn up, but of course, it wasn't meant to be. And look, for me, Italy were poor, and of course, it's the worst Italian side I've ever come across against. But I just feel Switzerland were the better team. They were just well organised, so composed, very calmness, and they just battered Italy. Like Italy, for me, are just the worst Italian side ever. And Scamacca, poor. West Ham fans got rid of him. Scamacca, very, very poor. They don't have an experienced midfield anymore to control the ball. They had Jorginho on the bench. They had
Yeah.
Patetti, who's been one of the top goal scorers throughout the qualifiers to qualify for the Euros. But Italy are in a transition season again. And that's the problem with Italy, because they've been in this situation before. 10 years ago, got knocked out in the group stage in the World Cup.
Mm.
Their last World Cup was 10 years ago. Missed out on 2 World Cups. And they're losing to
Yeah.
stupidity teams. You know what I'm saying? And they're very
Yeah.
unpredictable, Italy. Like, they could have easily got knocked out of the group stage, but I just feel Spalletti's not the right man. But of course, they've given him till the World Cup, and they've given till the Nations League, which is coming up in September. Then you've got the World Cup qualifiers, who are starting in
Yeah.
March next year, in about 9 months' time. And the manager's only been in the job for 8 or 9 months. But now getting on with England, Gareth Southgate. Southgate's not the right manager, Rojan. I think Southgate for me was a very, very lucky man, because if he would have lost that game and if Jude Bellingham didn't score the winner for us, Jude Bellingham, I think he would have been sacked by now. He would have been sacked on the same day. Even he come out and admit and said that he was planning to get sacked. But he saved his job. Bellingham saved the country. He saved
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You mentioned that Italy are now in the phase of transition. Uh, I sort of believe that Italy have been in this scenario for the past 10, 12 years. Like, they, even when in 2012, when they won the Euro, when they made it to the finals of the Euros,
yes.
it was still seen as a team in transition. Like, you had players like Pirlo, Buffon, these veterans, and then you had, at that time, you had this young budding Balotelli, and a
Yes.
few years down the line, when they won the trophy in 2020, you had veterans Chiellini, Bonucci, Mobile, Spinazzola. But then on the other side, you had these young prodigies like Chiesa. So the thing with Italy I've noticed is that in the past decade or so, they've never had players that were in their absolute prime, like they had in
100%.
2000s. So why do you think that is the case with Italy?
I think the
What
problem
what has
is
changed?
I think the problem with it. I think the problem with Italy is. Can you see me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, I
Oh,
can.
that's good. You can see me. That's good. You can see my whole face. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can see
Oh,
you.
that's good.
I
That's
can
good.
see you.
That's good. But no, I think the problem with Italy is they haven't really seemed to replace an experienced striker. Like you get some people saying about Mario Balotelli, and I'm thinking, right, okay, Balotelli's washed now, okay, and people talk about that Euro semi-final back in 2012,
Yes.
12 years ago, that Mario Balotelli scored twice against Germany, but Italy, for me, won't call up Mario Balotelli because, one, he's playing in some second division. He's about 30. He's about 33 years old. Italy don't need to call someone like that who's 33 years old. Yes, people might talk about it and say, yeah, he might be the best striker as what you've got. He knows how to put it in the back of the net, but his attitude is not great anymore. And Roberto Mancini was kind of right, thinking at the time, do Italy give Mario Balotelli one last chance? Has he got the capability to be that striker again at that sort of age? And I don't think he hasn't. It would be nice to see him back, but of course, what's the point calling old players back? You need to build a foundation. I get it, yeah, because of experience. Like, I thought, like, look, Insigne for me had a great tournament in the last Euros. But this
Yeah.
Euros campaign this year, you're thinking, okay, he's 33 years old, the MLS. I'm sure MLS will be kindly enough to invite Insigne, even have him in the squad for experience. Locatelli, I don't understand why. He's 26 years old, was one of Italy's best midfielders, and we one of the best midfielders in the last Euro tournament when they last won it.
Yeah.
And Jorginho, for me, was the only old experience. Barella, yeah, Italy have got the Barellas, the Jorginhos and that, but there's no variety in there. They're like 31, 32. I'm also sure they can play one more World Cup and then announce your retirement. But Insigne's 33. Is he going to play another World Cup at 35? No, of course not. His days are done. If not, call Politano from Napoli. Like, there's players out there who you can call that could play one more tournament. Even have them on the bench if you don't want them as a main starter. And I remember the old Italy. Italy, for me, people were looking in this tournament, oh, Italy, are they good enough to be defending champions? And they had a good start. They beat Albania, but Albania
Yeah.
should have got a point. Spain totally ripped Italy apart, totally ripped us apart in that game. Croatia, we got very lucky.
Yeah.
But we had the guy who was on the bench, Zaccarini, who came on in the second half and actually kind of made a bit of an impact to try and get us back in the game, to have any hope of getting something against Switzerland, but we barely did nothing. Scamacca hits the post. But the trouble is, Italy's gone backwards again. There's no young generation. There's nothing. There's like literally, there's nothing about them. And I think Spalletti, for me, has to change things right. You've got to go to the under-21 squad. You've got to find the next Verratti or the next Pirlo or the next Immobile, the next Balotelli. You've got to find like Moise Keane, for me, is not as old, but he's not prolific. So there's got to be players out there. Like, I'm thinking, look, Italy have got Chiesa. He's the best out of the whole lot, but he's not the same player as he was
Yeah.
in the last Euros.
Yeah. Totally. So, I mean, you mentioned in your stream after the game against Switzerland that Spalletti had to leave. So, if Spalletti had to leave, who do you reckon is the best person for
I think for me, there's
the
managers
Italian?
out there available. You go and get the Atalanta manager. Look, Roshan, look. Gasparini won the Europa League and beat a 51 game undefeated Xabi Alonso by Leverkusen, right, who are the new Invincibles now, who beat
Yeah.
Arsenal's Invincible one by 2 games. You go and get maybe someone like, look, Ancelotti's not going to come because he's going to stay at Real Madrid,
Yeah.
and he was offered at Brazil. And why would you want to leave Real Madrid? He's won
Yeah.
15. Well, Real Madrid have won 15 titles. So in Champions League. So the trouble is, Ancelotti's not going to go anywhere, but Allegri's available. And the trouble is,
And
there's
then
managers out there like, look, I'd love to have Conte back. Don't get me wrong. That what Conte did in 2016, when we knocked out the
yes.
2012 holders in Spain, we had good players
Yeah.
then. But
Yeah.
the trouble is, Conte's now at Napoli. He's gone for the money. He's going to be there for about 2 years or a year and a half. But the thing
Yeah.
is, Roshan, there's not really many managers out there available, and that's the problem.
Yeah. I mean, do you reckon like Maurizio Sarri could be an option?
I think Sarri's available as well. I really do. I think for me, Sarri is a potential available because people might criticise and say, oh, Sarri plays this ball. But he knows people like Jorginho. But is
Yes.
Jorginho going to get another World Cup, Roshan? Because Jorginho, for me, is 32 years old. Has he got the legs to play for another 2 more years? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Because if he gets called up at the age of 34, I said in my match reaction on Saturday night, I said, well, the next World Cup, Immobile is going to be 36 years old, but Immobile doesn't even score that much goals for Italy. The best recent striker for Italy in recent times is probably Mario Balotelli. But that was, like, at the time, probably like years ago when he was scoring goals.
Yeah.
But Balotelli has not made an Italy appearance for 6 years.
Yeah, I mean, another striker I could think of at the moment is Andrea Bellotti, who's currently in
Spalletti's
Roma.
another one. He's only 30 years old,
Yeah,
and he scored 2 goals for Fiorentina at the end of the season.
yeah.
We
So
need a target man, but
Italy,
it's like
yeah,
this Retegui, whatever, who's meant to be Argentinian but he's Italian. He's not impressed me. Raspadori has probably been the best out of the whole bunch. When he first came in like a couple of years ago in the Nations League, he scored the winner against England. And he beat England once. And then England, of course, beat us in the qualifiers this term. But the trouble is, we haven't got anyone. That's that's why I felt, look, if you're going to call someone like Immobile, who's 34 years old, you need someone experienced that knows how to put goals in the back of the net. And the problem with Italy is, people talk about, oh, defence is the problem. I don't think defence is not a problem. I always feel like Italy have had a good defence. Okay, yeah, we've been conceding goals. But it's not just about conceding goals. It's about whether we have got no creativity, because I felt like Italy should have started maybe with someone like a Pellegrini or a Frattesi on Saturday, but he went with the wrong team. He went for this Juventus midfielder. I forgot the guy's name, Fagalori or someone like that. I'm thinking, who the hell is this midfielder? He's a talented player, but you need that experience in a tournament. Okay, these players are not going to last forever. I get that. But if they were about 31 to 33 years old, then Cristiano Ronaldo and Pepe are still playing at 39 to 41 years old. It's going to be their last Euro tournament, and they're probably going to get one more World Cup out of them. And then that's it. They're done for good.
yeah,
And they'll get their coaching badges. But the trouble is, you need that experience. That's the problem with Italy. And I just feel like they're going backwards, because people used to always take Italy seriously. Italy these days, I can always remember, and I'm not used for Italy getting knocked out in the last 16. Of course, I've experienced a Euro and a World Cup, but the trouble is, we haven't won a World Cup for like since 2006. 18, 19 years,
yeah,
nearly 20 years we've not won a tournament, and we failed to qualify for the World Cup twice. And I feel we're in this transition problem. Like, you look at other teams, Holland might get to the quarterfinals. They're playing today at 5 against Romania. Yeah,
yeah,
Romania have been very impressive in the tournament, but I expect Holland have always struggled to score goals.
yeah,
They've got Memphis Depay, who played for that team. I think it was about 10 years ago. He made his debut for Holland, and he's
yeah,
not as old compared. He's about 30 years old, right? So he's got a couple.
yeah,
I say he's got maybe another World Cup in him, and then they'll look for some. But Holland has struggled to score. They've got Cody Gakpo up front. They haven't got Van
yeah,
Persie anymore, or any of them lot anymore.
yeah.
Spain.
I mean, it's not the same attack like the Robins, your Snyders, or your Van Persies or Van Nistelrooys, but Netherlands does have that team where everybody contributes. Like I remember at one point, Netherlands' biggest attacking threat was Gini Wijnaldum.
Yeah.
Such was their case not long ago. So now they've got Cody, they've got Bergwijn. So these guys are stepping up, and they are like in their prime, which is what I believe Italy is missing. Because Italy's players who are in their prime, they're not actually playing for Italy anymore. Like you said, Chiesa is actually in his prime. But the thing is, he's come from a long-term injury, so he's not someone who's gonna step up straight away and give up his
100%.
game despite the talent and the potential he possesses. So this is something, a pattern that I've noticed with Italy in the last 10 odd years, and I believe this is why they haven't made it to the World Cup. Forget about winning. So, do you see with Spalletti at the helm with this current bunch of players? Do you think a third time would not be a chance?
I think for me, one last thing I will say, because I do need to bounce, I do need to go and all that
Yeah,
stuff. But of course, I feel like Spalletti, for me, I don't know how he's going to get the best out of his players. He's trying to find a solution. He's trying to get a group of these young players. And look, Italy, for me, people criticise, oh, Italy don't have a good squad. But over the years, they were challenging. They were getting to quarterfinals, semi-finals, and won the Euros last time.
yeah,
when we won the last campaign Euros in 2021, I didn't think Italy weren't going to win it, but they turned it around. They beat a good Belgium side back then, and the trouble is because it's about whether Spalletti can actually build Rojan a foundation. That's the thing. It's whether he can build that philosophy, if he can get this team together and actually like get this team regrouping again. Because look, Italy are a top nation, and people
Yeah,
enjoy how Italy play. Don't get me wrong, and look, I love Italy. Don't get me wrong, but the trouble is, I just feel like it's not impressive. It's not exciting anymore. It's not. Like I expected in this tournament, I expected Italy to go at least quarterfinals, and I
yeah,
thought, okay, last 16 against Switzerland, I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be a tough game. A lot of people did back Switzerland, and Switzerland, of course, beat us 2-0, but I personally thought Italy were going to go far. I personally, at least minimum quarterfinals. I can accept losing to England, of course, because obviously I'm born in England as well, but I just feel like I don't feel optimistic of us qualifying for the World Cup, depending on who we get in the group, because the Nations League, we've got to play France, Belgium, and Israel. And Belgium are not great. They're about the same level as us, but they have a slight quality attack than us, because Italy, for me, don't have a Trossard or a De Bruyne. So that's the thing.
yeah. So I
But I
think
got to bounce. I got to
Italy
bounce.
is
But
yes. It was really lovely to have you, Luca, and I would love to have you for a longer duration. The next
next
time when
time,
we get to
next
do,
time
I would love to.
when you do this,
Yes. Oh, so we do have a chat from. Yeah, I gotta show this. So that's it from Luca. So it was lovely to have him to know about his thoughts about Italian football and what is wrong with Italian football. We couldn't discuss this for a longer time, but that's up on the cards going forward. So this is one of the comments from friend Hitesh, with whom I just did a live stream on Instagram discussing about Euros. Who posted a comment saying, despite this Euros exit, Luciano Spalletti mentions in press conference he will make the squad more younger. Yep, that's what he's been saying, but unfortunately, the thing with Italy is a pattern that I've noticed is they either have stars who are on the wrong side of their age, or they've got prodigies, but they don't have players who are in their primes. And when they're in their prime, you don't feel like they're in their prime anymore. Like the case with Chiesa. Chiesa is in his prime in terms of age, but then he's from a back from a long term injury. He hasn't played a competitive top level football for quite a while on a regular basis. And he's come straight into Euros. So he's not the same Chiesa that was in 21. That was the case. In 21, he was a prodigy who was expected to have the world in his feet. And 3 years down the line, he's coming off from a long term injury. So that has been the case with Italy over the years. So which is they've never really able to bring in the best of their resources, despite it being a country that is known for its football, for its amazing talent. They somehow could not put up a squad that comprises of prodigies, prime players, and their veterans in one squad. And I hope that's something they should be trying to address, and that's where Luciano Spalletti must look into. More than just reducing the age of the squad, I feel like he should bring in players who are at their absolute best. That's where I feel like Italy has sort of failed to do. So, I mean, thanks to everyone that has tried, is watching this stream. I want to thank Luca, who was quite in a hurry. It was very nice of him to come and do a live stream for us to give up his opinions and his feelings about Italian football. You should go watch his channel where I was very intrigued by his video about after the game after about Italy versus Switzerland, and you could see that in this video how much he cares about Italian football. So that is something that we will be talking about extensively later. So that's it from me for now. It was so nice to see you all. Hopefully, whenever you guys watch this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Do like this video. If you've got something to say, do drop it on the comments. I would love to hear your opinions. Would definitely respond to it. Thank you so much. Please keep supporting us. We'll see you until next time. This is Roshan. Goodbye.